Hi, it's Maria Lloyd with Financial Juneteenth, and I'm speaking with Maurice. If you were watching the first video, we were talking about how Black America can use social media, specifically Facebook, to empower ourselves. And so before we got chopped off in the last video, Maurice was explaining why he has two separate profiles on Facebook. So Maurice, I'm going to toss it back over to you. And if you can just explain to the audience why you have those two Facebook profiles, that would be great.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you. I basically have the two different profile. One is for personal, where I post a lot of political stuff, issues dealing with black people, because I am black. Black
Right.
empowerment. Things about things that are affecting us, like education,
Right.
prison system. The lack of money. The breakdown of the family.
Right.
And things of those nature. A lot of black history type of things. And so I have a profile just specifically for that, and then I have my business profile really, where I'm able to interact with people who I wouldn't have on my personal page, because it could cause some problems, because I have a certain belief system, certain views that might not mesh with theirs, and vice versa.
Right.
So if I want to do business with them, I do my best to keep the personal and business stuff separate. Because I really don't want to know what their personal views are, and vice versa, if we're going to do business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Unfortunately, once people find out your views, your personal views, they might have a skewed perception of who you are that might not be very accurate. And
Right.
they might shy away from trying to do business with you. So I do that strategically for a reason.
Right.
It's not like I'm posting anything hateful or things like that. It's just that those issues pertain to those issues are important to me, because I am a black person, considering the state that we're in. And my business profile, I deal with those individuals strictly for business.
Right. Exactly.
And I friend them on my business page, not on my personal page.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I do that for a reason. Would it be great where I wouldn't need to do that? Yeah, it would be great. But unfortunately, because the society we live in, people don't. If people feel like you don't believe in what they believe in, then they can't do business with you. They can't talk to you, which doesn't really make sense to me.
Right.
We should be able to communicate with one another, have a difference of opinion, and still connect. There should be some common things that we can find with one another.
Exactly.
So that's why I have the two different profiles.
Yeah, so I believe more than likely I'm friends with you on your personal profile. I mean, yeah, on your personal profile on Facebook. And, I know people perceive, unfortunately in America, you're perceived as radical if you speak up or speak out against any form of injustice against black people. So I'm very proud and comfortable with saying I'm, by that definition of the word, very radical. And I have to say though, with your post on your private page, your posts are not radical at all. I mean, your posts are very enlightening and inspirational. Like, I know that you recently posted about the 52-week challenge, where basically you're challenging people to save up money every week, and at the end of the year they should have a couple $1,000s in their savings account. And then I know that you had recently posted about how you actually got out of $60,000+ debt, and how how that was for you, and how you did it. So, I mean, it's funny because I know with my posts, I mean, unfortunately, my white friends on Facebook are just dwindling. I mean, it seems like with every status update I write, I'm seeing less and less white Facebook friends, which is fine. I mean, if you if somehow me being proud of being black and trying to convince our people of the importance of having pride in being black without necessarily, of course, without disrespecting any other ethnic group or culture, but just having pride in your culture and building confidence in yourself. Somehow, if that offends you, then maybe you're actually part of the problem, you know? So I'm totally fine with my white Facebook friends just dwindling away or, you know, fading off into oblivion. That's fine with me. Um, but I wanted to ask you, so with the sharing of content and things like that on your personal page, um, how do you choose what you're going to put on that page? I guess what I'm trying to say is from a networking point of view, do you strategically think through what you're going to post before you post it, you know, hoping that you can get feedback from people and then build a relationship, or how does that work?
It really depends on the situation. I'm always thinking about, what should I post, what type of information. I always try to post things that will be beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to benefit somebody, not me per se, but benefit the other individual who may be reading it, or whatever the case may be, or there might have been someone posted something about money or a career or trying to get a loan or a house or whatever the case may be, and I might run into some information, and I may tag the person, you know, and let them know, hey, you should check out this information because I thought about what you posted or what you said, or it could be a conversation that I might have had with them, and they just came to my mind, like, you know what, let me post this on here because if it could benefit this person, I'm sure it can benefit other people as
Mm-hmm.
well,
Mm-hmm.
And then usually, what I always try to do is I always try to find like-minded people on Facebook who are more than just talkers, like for yourself.
Right.
Um, the reason why I ended up following because I realized this is a smart sister,
Well,
beautiful
thank
sister,
you.
and not only that, she talks to walk, you know. And I started looking at some of your posts. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna follow her. I'm gonna check her out, see what she's posting. Then I looked at your friends list to see who you were connected to.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I remember Andre Hatchett because I saw his YouTube video about Newburgh, New York,
Yes.
and he was giving that whole story. And I said, you know what? Let me friend this sister because she's about action. She's an action oriented sister. So that's what I try to find. I try to find people like that on Facebook. And it's really based on what they're posting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, people will post information. Oftentimes, they won't post a solution.
That's true. Yeah.
You know,
That's true.
or they won't, or I'm looking like, okay, does anybody want to join me in this effort? Is anybody interested in doing this?
Exactly.
I look for different phrases, keywords, and so that's basically what that's how I try to network. And for example, if I might meet somebody on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and like for you, for example, with Dr. Harnett about the Africa business,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? Let me hook up them two because I think I was saying to myself, these two sisters would be very powerful together. Because you have a way with words and are powerful, and she's talking about doing business in Africa. And ever since I got back from Africa a couple of years ago, I've been telling like family and friends, you got to go to Africa.
Yeah.
You got to do business in Africa. Everybody's setting up shop in Africa except for us. There's not enough of us, and so I try to think strategically about who I can connect with who I can connect people with together. Because I'm not looking for any benefit. I don't care about that. You know,
Right.
um, if I think this person A can benefit person B and vice versa, then why wouldn't I connect them together? Let them collaborate, and then go from there. And so that's basically what I've been doing. Like, and and also with you and brother Dave from LA.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
You know, so I mean that's just like my whole thought process. I try to connect people. And hopefully something positive, something good will come out of it.
Right, right.
Because we all have different skill sets.
Exactly.
We all have different weaknesses, and we all have different strengths.
Right.
So why not try to pull people together who have certain strengths and try to team up and try to empower our people. So that's what I really try to do.
Yeah, I mean, and you do an amazing job with that. I mean, you connecting me with Dr. Harnett was a great idea. I love she and John Paul. I speak with them every week. And just for our listeners, Dr. Harnett and John Paul are the authors of 101 Ways to Make Money in Africa, which is a book that discusses various sectors in which the African diaspora should consider investing in certain countries in Africa. And so I actually had a great conversation with them yesterday, and I'll be posting their interview today as well. But that came as a result of you tagging me when Dr. Harnett listed her. I think she was publicizing the book. You tagged me, and I was like, oh my goodness, because I had already been thinking about it. I've been reading, Business Week. I've been reading Forbes. I've been reading all of these magazines, and they have this consistent theme with go to Africa, invest in Nigeria, invest in Kenya, invest in Angola. I mean, I see this everywhere. Everybody else gets it. Of course, we seem to come to the table late. And so when you tagged me, it was just perfect. I mean, just perfect timing. And I bought it immediately. As soon as you tagged me, I was like, oh, Mo tagged me in this. I know it must be legitimate. Let me go ahead and purchase. And I did. I purchased, and yeah, well, thank you. It was due to you. And I purchased it and took it a step further and introduced myself to Dr. Harnett. And as a result, we now have an affiliate relationship with her. Well, she and John Paul. So again, that's a result of you using Facebook to connect people. And to your point again with, Dave, I mean, we were supposed to do a Skype thing too, like you and I, but unfortunately his Skype situation was messing up too. But still, I mean, just, learning about prepping and how that works. I would have probably never even thought twice about that until you introduced me to him. So again, all of these relationships, very good relationships too, meaningful relationships, are the result of you getting on Facebook, joining various groups, liking different fan pages and things, and then tagging your friends who you thought could benefit from the information that you found. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just great what you've done. And even though I know that you're never expecting anything in return, I mean, you will absolutely, that's just the way of life. When you give so selflessly, things just tend to come back to you tenfold. So, of course, I always tell you if there's anything I can help you with, don't hesitate to ask. And I do tag you in things that I see online as well. So there's that reciprocity that you brought up earlier, or I guess in the previous video, you were saying, when you join a group, you're looking for reciprocity. I mean, you will come in wanting to bring in your knowledge and expertise, but then you're also hoping to learn and earn, more knowledge and expertise as a result of joining certain groups. So I think that you've really kind of mastered, optimizing the online experience as it pertains to social media. I mean, I've even had to shift my thinking. Of course, sometimes, most of the time I post serious stuff, but sometimes I post silly stuff. If I run across a funny video, I'll post it because we all need that. Laughter is food for the soul. But most of the stuff I post is a little, I guess, controversial or basically I'm just trying to challenge people to think outside of the box. Not necessarily agree with me, but to challenge people to think outside of the box. And I think that's something that that's another thing that I noticed that you will do. You'll share an article and you may tag some people or you may not, but I'll see it in my news feed and I'll be like, wow, that's interesting. I didn't even see this until Mo posted it. So thank you so much for, just using the platform the way that you do and enriching not only your life but my life and everyone else's lives that you've impacted as a result of meeting on Facebook. And I wanted to ask you if you could just let our audience know, how can they reach you? I know obviously the personal page will probably be the best page for them to follow you on. So how can people find you on Facebook?
They can just do a search for Mo Rego, Morego.
Okay. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. And are there any final words or thoughts that you have for our readers? Anything you want to share? Just any final conclusions about social media and how we can use it to empower ourselves or empower the race as a whole?
Well, what I would say is use social media as a way to not only just build up yourself, but build up other people. You know, um, because again, it's a very powerful platform.
Right.
And it can have a great impact if it's used, effectively and wisely. So just it's all about balance.
Mhm. Mhm.
Don't live on Facebook. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we got work to do outside of Facebook.
Right. That's true. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And one thing I kind of noticed is that people spend a lot of time on Facebook, and sometimes you need to take a step back away from
That's true.
and focus on some other important things. Because if you're posting on Facebook almost 24/7, then the work is not getting done in the community.
That is true. Yep. You're absolutely right about that.
Building Facebook. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, it's all about balance, and just use Facebook as a way to empower yourself, empower others, and I would say is don't be afraid to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't understand something, ask. It's not going to hurt you. And don't be afraid to admit you were wrong if you're communicating
right.
with someone on a Facebook post. I mean, just admit you were wrong. I mean, I've done that. I've had to shift my thought process on some things. I've been challenged. I mean, when I read some of your posts, well, I read a lot of your posts. I'm like, okay, this is fishy. Yeah, I didn't quite see it that way, but
right.
Yeah, she's swinging me in her direction. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My thing is, don't let your difference of views get in the way of you working with somebody.
Right. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
It's just not worth it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
And the last thing I'll say is black first.
Right. Yep.
So,
well, very powerful words, really good advice. And I just want to add a little tidbit. It's funny when you mentioned about, coming on there when you're engaging in dialogue and stuff and just making sure that you're not afraid to admit you were wrong. I mean, I know a lot of people may think that when I get on there and I voice certain opinions, it's like I'm voicing it as if it's, that's it. This is the one and only way. But I agree with you. I too have numerous times actually, I've had to admit, okay, you know what? That's a really interesting point of view. And now that's something I need to ponder. That makes me shift my way of thought. So in the beginning, I wasn't as receptive to other people's point of view. But my goal is every day to be the only person I need to be better than is the person I was yesterday. That's my goal. So, maybe 2 years ago on Facebook, I was one of those, silly people name calling and just kind of disrespecting people because we didn't see eye to eye. But the person who I am today does not do that anymore. And so I guess on that note, I would just like to encourage those of you who are listening and watching to not be afraid of growth. As Mo mentioned, don't be afraid to say, hey, you know what? I had never considered that point of view before, but maybe I should. There's nothing wrong with that. It's totally normal to be wrong sometimes and just be receptive to it. So Anyway, on that note, I guess I'll go ahead and end now. So, Mo, thank you so much for your, sharing your experience as well as your advice on how we can use this platform to empower ourselves. And for you, the listener or the watcher or the reader, thank you so much for joining us and supporting the Financial Juneteenth platform. And please stick around. I have many more interviews with Mo to come. And we really appreciate you. Thank you all so much.